But so I was really curious about this because so I want to kind of ground this because I want to know exactly where your disagreements are with Sam Harris and just kind of figure out exactly where they are because I don't know. I'm a little bit torn on Sam Harris because on the one hand he's sort of a liberal guy, but on the other hand he's like sort of a neocon when it comes to foreign policy specifically. He's
Well,
more
and
of
also
yeah, he's
race.
going on with that whole stuff now. So I was just curious what your thoughts are on Sam and just I was just hoping we could kind of get into like what your disagreements are with him.
Oh, I mean, I've just done. I'm actually really burned out on Sam, but I wish he was somebody I didn't need to know about. But it's actually kind of what bothers me about Sam is even just like the fact that someone like you still has some ambiguity about him. I
I have a
just
lot
think
of
like,
ambiguity about him.
yeah, I know. I think like whatever, cool. He's pro-choice or whatever. It's irrelevant. I mean, his main. I think and the atheism thing is cool, whatever. I don't
Hmm.
know. Like I find his writing on religion and to be fair, I didn't grow up in a religious household. So maybe if I had to get that out emotionally, it
Hmm.
would be one thing, but it's like a 14-year-old boy. It's like, dude, I get it. I know. I agree. Creationism isn't real. Like you're a fucking adult. Like what do you like these issues are complicated.
Hmm.
And even the way religion works in society is a pretty big deal. And just being an asshole about it is not going to achieve anything. As fun as it may be. No, I mean, look, the guy's just. It's no surprise to me that if you adopt his worldview, and even the fact that whether or not he still says he thinks certain ways on certain issues, he's absolutely a member of the right.
Really? So you think he's right wing?
Dude, if you think, again, the biggest problem in society is SJWs or PC or whatever, you have no economic analysis of the world. You jump on
I think
Charles
he has
Burns
some analysis though, because I've heard him
of
advocate for
economics.
I've heard him advocate for universal basic income, like sometime in the future.
Okay.
So I was just, and he's also anti-Trump and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. You think it's fair to put him in as a right winger?
I think if you are a neocon in foreign policy who promotes Charles Murray, I would say not only are you a right winger, you're actually on the extreme. Like I know conservative Republicans who are like, "Whoa, Charles Murray's a racist.
Mm-hmm.
Why would Sam Harris have him on?" Uh, it's to me, politics isn't just piecemeal issues. It's how you look at the world
Mm-hmm.
and how you think strategically and broadly. And Sam Harris basically, he doesn't do history. He doesn't do policy. He doesn't do so. If you think you can figure out the Middle East, South Asia, the balancing pieces of everything from the United States to Saudi Arabia to Iran through the Quran is bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if that's conservative. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, to the point where it's like this idea that you can explain things like terrorism through bad ideas is literally even contradicted by his own buddy's story. Like if you listen to Majid Nawaz, who I'm also not a big fan of, although I don't think he should have been put on that hate list, but whatever,
Yeah.
that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
His own story of how he supposedly became radicalized is one of I saw things happening to Muslims overseas by the United States, and it made me angry.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is going on national tours with somebody whose own narrative directly contradicts
Yeah.
what Sam is talking about. And if you look at how things actually work in the real world, like ideas are spread through money, power, and influence and material conditions. And that's also why he jumps right into race science.
Mm-hmm.
Because and in a way that's almost doubly negative and doubly irresponsible and disgusting. Because the truth is, at least Charles Murray is disingenuous, but Charles Murray has a political agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Charles
Yeah, he
Murray,
does. That's something a
Charles
lot of
Murray,
people don't know.
Charles Murray is trying to say, because also his recent book is called Coming Apart, which is about poor white people. So he makes a cultural instead of genetic case. But the whole point of Charles Murray's work, going back to the 70s, is to make sure that we don't have a social safety net
Yeah, that's
and
true.
to formalize class hierarchies.
Yeah.
So the reason that he is making, and be very clear, first of all, IQ is a absolutely questionable test, which people should not take uncritically.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, going back to the 70s, when Charles Murray said that environment had already been taken into account, and the rest was genetics, he literally meant that in the 1970s that for a couple of years segregation had been legally outlawed and that there were a couple of social programs like Head Start. If you know anything about American history,
Yeah.
from slavery to American apartheid to housing discrimination,
Mm-hmm.
you know that that's not only a wrong statement, it's like morally deranged.
Right.
Sam Harris is so in whatever his bizarre grievance single track box is, that not only, in a way it's even worse because Charles Murray is purely a political figure, and Sam Harris saw a guy whose entire work is to, undermine, basically social spending
Mm-hmm.
and social justice, and then was like, the most important thing here is that Charles Murray should be allowed to, is needs to speak and he's a freedom fighter and all this other bullshit. It's actually really, honestly, it's disgusting.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
so to be clear on the Charles Murray thing,
Yeah.
because apparently, like, at the speech he was giving or whatever, like, one of his aides was, like, actually concussed. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, that, because I think that is something that we should be straightforward and say that that's, like, stupid and that people should
Well,
be able
yeah,
to
it's
speak.
well, it's stupid that the way those students handled it was stupid because he wouldn't even have been on the public radar or even gotten Sam Harris to do this interview.
Yeah.
So I don't agree. Strategically and tactically, I disagree with that. If Charles Murray comes to your campus, uh, ideally, actually, just ignore him.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to go, confront him on either the merits of his argument, which are highly shaky, or remind people that the guy burned a cross when he was in high school in his town in Iowa, and then claimed to not know what it was. Maybe his IQ wasn't high enough. I mean, these people are fucking disgusting,
Yeah.
and I think that Sam Harris is so, he's profoundly myopic.